Salute Knicks Nation. The Knicks took a L tonight at MSG on the second of a back-to-back against the New Orleans Pelicans. No Jalen Brunson, no Isaiah Hartenstein tonight. But the Knicks started off solid. They fought. There was the obvious offensive struggles, and some Knicks fought through that, hit some shots in the first half. But the second half, the New Orleans Pelicans woke up, started raining threes, and the Knicks just could not keep up, man. That's the story of the night, really. Continue to be shorthanded, even more shorthanded. But the Knicks showed a lot of fight. Right, the final score, 92-115, doesn't reflect, the competitiveness in this game. Late, Pelicans filled it up, as we'll talk about tonight in the post-game live. Welcome in. Glad you could join me in the chat to talk about the Knicks and this loss and the road ahead. Right, we had a lot of games tonight. Philadelphia look like they're about to lose, so the Knicks will remain in fourth seed. But we'll talk about the injuries. That's the story before the game even, commenced, fam. Knicks Nation. Isaiah Hartenstein, nothing to really worry about. It was more precautionary, right? It was more, being sensible. Second of a back-to-back, and resting that man. He's dealing with the, Achilles tendonitis as well, which is something you don't want to, play with as well. The minutes have been starting to ramp up. But Jalen Brunson, I also think it's very similar. He did take a shot last night against Detroit. They're talking about a neck, a neck spasm. So, it's nothing serious. I think he's just going to rest, shake that off, right? But I'm glad they, didn't play any games with that, and rested Jalen Brunson. But what that meant was, unfortunately, the Knicks were up against it, right? The Pelicans have got a decent squad, and a good starting five. Valanciunas was a beast down low. Zion. The Knicks really did solid to contain them for as long as they could, shorthanded. Josh Hart was exceptional. Jericho Sims did his best. Precious Achiuwa was solid down low. And they were, really defending as a team tonight, swarming them. But the struggles were tonight on the offensive side. In the absence of Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride got the start. He got his chance to shine. But yeah, Deuce didn't have the best game. In terms of leading the starting five, it's a really, really tough role. It's a tough spot to be in. I don't think it's Deuce's best strength, but he gave it his best, right? Solid defense, but just couldn't create. Did hit open shots, but the Knicks couldn't get enough dribble penetration, which is the number one thing that Brunson excels at, fam. Welcome into the chat, Buzzer Beater, Daniel. I've got some injury updates, and we're going to talk about that. But also, I want to, highlight some things that I saw with Thibs again that I didn't like tonight. Outside of the injuries and all the, the shorthandedness, the Knicks went with a 7-man rotation tonight, which makes absolutely zero sense, right? You're already missing 2 of your hard-nosed guys tonight through rest and through injury, and you're not even willing to play Jake Toppin, Jeffries. A lot of these roster spots are just completely wasted, to me. Not going to dwell on it too much because I sound like a broken record, but the third quarter was when the game, blew wide open. The Knicks were only down 4 at the half, only down 1 at the half, 47-48, off a really good closeout in the second with Bojan Bogdanovich leading the game in scoring with 14 points. And that goes into my point where, you've got a guy who is leading the entire game in scoring, 14 points, but for some reason Thibs doesn't see a use for having him in with the starters, right? In a game where you're desperately short of scoring, as well. So I want to hear your thoughts, guys. What do you think about that? On top of that, a 7-man rotation as well. And yeah, in that third quarter, the Knicks didn't score a point in the first 4 minutes, right? And a 4-point deficit became 9 points, timeout. And basically, it was already going to be tough to come back from that, fam. So yeah, I mean, Bogey was, finishing the second quarter on a tear. He looked like our best offensive player. But yeah, Thibs wanted to keep him with the bench for some reason when you're trying to win a ball game with no Jalen Brunson. So yeah, to me, I think the Knicks got what, basically what Thibs cooked up tonight. It was inevitable because we're going to need to outscore, New Orleans, and we just couldn't do that, man. Defensively, we're already doing solid, but we were running on the treadmill. We were just treading there, and trying to make sure that we, could get enough points, and stops. But yeah, it was going to be tough on the second night of a back-to-back. And with that said, I think 7 men on the second night of a back-to-back is kind of ridiculous, I don't really see any coach in the NBA go with 7 men. We needed more bodies, right? Regardless of the result, you got to protect the players that you are putting out there as well. And they're giving it their all tonight, fam. So... I mean, Bogey was our best offensive player, right? We can highlight his deficiencies and all of that, but look, who else is out on the court? Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, Precious Achiuwa, Jericho Sims. Who else is going to produce more offense than a Bojan Bogdanovich? I mean, yeah, we're looking at, just a tough situation. A lot of guys flawed. We're going to talk about Alec Burks too, because Alec Burks, continues to struggle, and it's a trend now, right? It's no longer, we're waiting to see him shake off the rust. This is 6 games now, and he's been buns in every single one right now. So yeah, we need to see him buck that trend ASAP, right? But yeah, the Knicks, didn't have a shot winning when New Orleans shoot 50% from the field and 52% from the 3-point line. That's 52% as well, right? For those that didn't hear, 52% from 3. It's tough to win any ball game, even with your number one gunner in your starting lineup, as well. But yeah, we're going to give out grades. This will be a rapid fire show because the Knicks got to get healthy. We've got Golden State coming in. I'm okay that they rested Brunson, and well, he might not have been able to go anyway, but it was more precautionary with the neck spasm, and then Isaiah, as well. We don't need to risk any further injury, right? I guess the best thing to come out of tonight, which we'll look at shortly, is the results, and it does look like Philadelphia is going to pick up that L against Boston. I'm just going to bring it up, fam. Yep, Philadelphia 99 to Boston 117, fam. So we won last night, and Philly took a loss, so we're still 1 game clear in the 4th seed. But the Miami Heat are about to play against Portland in Portland tonight. So we hope that they can pick up a loss as well, and we'll continue to keep that separation, because I know a lot of Knicks Nation is getting a bit weary of the other guys, coming up, too, fam. Free throws, 69%. Buzzer Beater says, struggles. Yeah, man. I think Jericho Sims did miss quite a few as well. He's not a great free throw shooter, man. But yeah, he gave us 2 blocks tonight. Brandon Ingram finished with 5 assists. Deuce McBride with 5. Josh Hart, man, killed the rebounds with 10. And obviously, DiVincenzo came alive late, right, as we bring up the box score and give out grades, right, and we continue to shout you out. Let us know what you want to speak on. As I bring that up again, Bogdanovich finished with 20 points, 4 of 10, solid outing. To me, the rationale was just, you have your best player scoring. It makes no sense not to have him in the, in the starting unit. Maybe he's dealing with some restrictions. That could have been a realistic factor. I'm a reasonable man. If there's a legit reason, but I struggle to see it right now. You had to play Hart 40 minutes, right? He's going to be gassed. Jericho finished with 7 rebounds and a couple of blocks. Like I said, 7 points, minus 18. So all the starters in the minus tonight. And what's really obvious is the 7-man rotation, man. as Buzzer says, this is the Burks I feared. Man, I really thought we were going to get a much better version of Burks straight up. I must admit I didn't watch any Detroit games, but yeah, his shot looks flat at the moment. He's clearly trying to get in that rhythm, right? The decision making is a whole nother issue as well with Burks, as we know. But at least hit some shots. It starts there, man. We brought you in to hit buckets. You're a shooting guard. I see signs from Bogdanovich where it's like, okay, the trade's going to work out, because this guy, when everybody's back, Bogdanovich is really going to be, a gravy on top of all the other guys we've got that can hit shots. But yeah, he does struggle creating for himself a bit as well. A little bit of a turnover machine for tonight. But he gets a pass because he hit buckets. And he was aggressive. We needed somebody to be aggressive. And I did feel that Hart, Deuce McBride were very passive tonight. Precious looked to be pretty aggressive. So I'm going to shout him out. But yeah, Miles McBride, 3 of 11, got us 8 assists, 10 points, but minus 26. So yeah, the box score is a little misleading for Deuce McBride, and I'm part of Deuce McBride Hive. But yeah, his game was very hesitant, tonight, especially on the offensive end. On a night where Brunson's not playing, I think Deuce should put up more than 11 shots, and we did pass the rock around like a hot potato, but I feel like, it definitely played into the hands of the defense, passing up a lot of open looks, fam. But my player of the game was Josh Hart. I think, the man of the last 24 hours, really. And we've got to talk a bit about that, because the NBA has come out with the last 2-minute report, and lo and behold, there was 2 blown calls, or 2 non-calls that would have benefited the New York Knicks, compared to the Detroit Pistons' 1 non-call that would have benefited Detroit. So the Knicks were actually on the wrong end last night, despite what the rest of the NBA world is trying to tell us. I didn't see a foul there still. I saw on the replay Thompson, kind of fumble his dribble, and the ball kind of, moved ahead of Thompson, and it was enough room for a 50-50 ball for DiVincenzo to run in there and get his hands on it first. And then the momentum of Thompson running at full speed obviously is going to collide into Devo. But look, that's in the books. That's history now. But yeah, it's interesting that we find out that the Knicks were actually the ones screwed last night, if we're counting. Also, the 7 free throw discrepancy that we have to take into consideration, because Detroit did get way more free throws than the New York Knicks last night. So we got out of jail. We still won last night. We should have put Detroit away. But yeah, back to Hart. He played well last night. Played well tonight. 6 of 15. 1 of 4 though. Wasn't as efficient tonight, but gave us 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 15 points, and a minus 22. Obviously, he did play the bulk of the game, 40 minutes. So, Hart, at times he was really doing well offensively tonight. Later in the game, there was more struggles, but early, the first half, he was knocking down the shot. I just love to see him confident and shoot that shot. Man, we... especially without, a ball-dominant point guard like Brunson, you see other guys having to need to adjust. And I understand that. And guys just got to be confident taking shots, really. Disappointing for me, the most disappointing thing was, I guess, 92 points. We couldn't crack 100. And I felt like we would have if Thibs had played his best offensive lineups, with Bogey in there. Of all the guys you want to play big minutes when Brunson's out, you can't find any more minutes than 29 for Bogdanovich. Is kind of puzzling, for me, given he was the best, one of the best Knicks offensively. DiVincenzo ended up finishing with a team high, 23 points, right? he was big in terms of output, 7 of 18 from three, 39%. Continues to shoot great on the season. Salute chat. What's buzzing? Knicks will face the Golden State Warriors on that will be on Thursday. Big game coming up, and then we'll preview the road ahead. But the Knicks, yeah, hopefully Brunson and I think Isaiah will be back for that one. Brunson, will wait and see. But we do have some more news coming from Shams Charania on the updated health of Randall, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle. Shams is hearing that everyone that he's ticking the boxes, and he's expecting Randle to be back this season. Obviously we're still waiting on an updated timetable, but OG Anunoby, he's hearing in the next 2 to 3 weeks he'll be back on the court, which is positive to hear. He's not shooting on the court yet, as Thibs also confirmed today, but OG Anunoby is bound to start shooting in the gym by later this week, early next week. So that means OG Anunoby is going to give us that huge boost, fam, in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we just got to continue to tread water until then, right? He's going to improve our defense. He's going to improve the shot making. He can put it on the deck. He can hit the corner three. Again, the way these guys are defending, and like tonight, you add OG, and we're still going to be tough to beat. Obviously, we're waiting on Randall, but that's more for the playoffs. Obviously he's the biggest piece to bring back that we need before the playoffs. But obviously OG Anunoby is going to be back sooner as well. And quite frankly, man, I can't wait. I'm sick of seeing these teams, push 120 on us as well. We need that defense, right? We lost Grimes. Burks hasn't lived up to the billing as coach in the building, letting his thoughts be known on Alec Burks. Absolute struggles, so far. And obviously the man can turn it around. He's got talent, and I'm not selling all my Burks stock, but I'm really, really disappointed and underwhelmed so far, But I guess, as I said in another show, man, he's 32 now, and maybe we're not going to see the same Burks from 3 years ago. I mean, it's reasonable to think that he's regressed, as you do with age. He was once a very, very dynamic scorer, fam, and he has not looked anything close to that, man. Nothing close to it. But yeah, if we can hold on to that 4th seed, obviously 3rd is a dream. We avoid Boston in the 2nd round if we can get 3rd. But for me, 4th would still be a dream because we get home court, right? And more so the health. Regardless of where the Knicks finish, if I had one wish, that wish would be that every single player is healthy. That's the first thing, regardless of what seed we finish, right? I think every Knicks fan would sign up right now if it meant that Julius Randle, OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson was healthy by game 1 of the playoffs, right? And that's what we want to see, right? Until then, though, we do need to keep winning. But like I said, we caught a break with Philly losing tonight. The Bucks picked up a huge win, but they're already ahead of us, obviously in 3rd. We're still trying to catch them. And the Cleveland Cavaliers got lucky tonight with the Max Strus half-court heave to win the game in the final second. You can't make this stuff up. So Cleveland continue to win, the Bucks win, but Philly lose, and the Heat are about to play later tonight, fam. So what are you guys thinking? Monty Williams, yeah, the thoughts of him circulating. It's all going to be forgotten about, man. Last night is in the books now. We keep it moving, but yeah, Monty Williams salty, real salty, acting like he's the only coach team hard done by this season is a joke, right? But to be honest, if I was only winning 8 games, in a season, I'd be pretty frustrated as well. JJ's in the building. Salute. We're too depleted to avoid the play-in. I agree with that in terms of if, Randall and OG don't get back soon. You know, Brunson it is a concern that he's, missing some games and he's knocked up, he's banged up. But that's to the point where, yeah, he's going to continue to get hit. He's going to continue to play big minutes. At some point, and I don't want this to happen, but at some point, logic is going to say that he's going to pick up, more injuries along the way, if we don't get help soon. And obviously he's our most important piece. And it goes through things like tonight, which makes me more frustrated. If I sound more frustrated than usual, it's because I really am. In Thibs, you're trying to avoid any more injuries, and you're only playing 7 guys tonight. It just don't make no sense to me. I don't care if it's Toppin or Jeffries. They've shown that they can play a couple minutes. Just put them out there. Yeah, if you're gonna sort of tank the game anyway and rest some guys, you're not expecting to win anyway. So yeah, Ihart's going to be okay. I feel he's just dealing with the tendonitis. It was more of a precaution, but JB was legit more of a neck spasm, fam. There was footage put out there on Twitter where JB did take a shot, man, on the neck as well. But in terms of tonight, man, I felt like Hart gave us all that he had. He left it all out there, and up until at some point in the third, it looked like we could have maybe pulled off the impossible, tonight. And he was a bit of a leader tonight. Continues to rebound well. 10 rebounds, 3 offensive, couple steals, 5 assists as well. Only 1 turnover is pretty big, right? If you're playing 40 minutes with 1 turnover, that's solid. 4 fouls, guarding Zion. I mean, he was having to guard everybody tonight. Brandon Ingram, anybody and everybody. Trey Murphy. But yeah, I can't really give Hart any more credit. Not the perfect game, but he stepped up. He gave us what he had on the second night of a back-to-back. What are you guys feeling? Buzzer says we need a backup point guard. We still have the roster spots, man. I feel like hopefully Leon Rose does bring someone else in. I think there's some guys out there that can assist. Some people are still feeling like Deuce McBride can be that guy, but I don't see it. I see what he brings. I see, the good stuff that he brings to the table. But being a floor general just isn't that at the minute. He's good playing off ball. Certainly, the Brogdon thing, yeah, is in the rear view now. But I don't know if we really had a chance to get him. But yeah, it would have been nice. So let's see what Leon Rose does. Right, we're going to need some more ball handling. I feel Alec Burks, we're going to give out his grade shortly. But yeah, continue along with us, fam. Give out your grades. Replay squad, I see you, salute. Let me know in the comment section. But right now, the live chat's buzzing. Knicks Nation letting their thoughts known on this game. At least we won last night, so we split the 2. We're still 35 and 24 on the season. We've got a lot of positives still to appreciate. This man, Dante DiVincenzo, man, if he was the next guy to go down, man, I don't know what I'd do, man. Depression might hit me. If DiVincenzo gets injured, because he's the last of our gunners out there in the starting 5. Tonight he had to put up 18 3-point attempts, so he's not shy, letting it fly. 7 of them he hit, 8 of 21 from the field, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, 23 points. Minus 18. Second night of a back-to-back, playing 36 minutes, 37 minutes. So he caught a little bit of a break, but still big minutes for the big Ragu. He's 26 years old. He can take it, but we need more offensive help. And yeah, again, my point in that 5-man unit, I really want to see Hart or Precious Achiuwa on the bench and Bogdanovich coming in. You need to give that man some floor spacing to operate. Even for Deuce McBride. I mean, that would have made Deuce McBride's job easier as well. It has a whole ripple effect on everybody when the lineups out there are not floor spacing. But then you saw the offense sort of click when Bogdanovich was starting to hit shots in the second, right? And we cut it to basically a 1-point game to end the half. We had a chance to take the lead at the end of the half. But then he comes back in the third with the same starting lineup. Bogdanovich goes cold. He comes in only 4 minutes left in the third. We're down like 13. And it's like, it's just trying to save the game, you know, at that point. So yeah, not a fan of Thibs' in-game management. Not a fan of his minutes and player allocation. Right, tonight, man. Yeah, it's quite unbelievable still, as I think about it. 7 men rotation on the second night of a back-to-back. But yeah, man, DiVincenzo, what grade do you think? Right, yeah, his 18 threes is crazy. But yeah, he's got the green light, man. J.R. Smith, wish he could still play and put up that many, man. The big Ragu, one of the signings of the season. Not just for the Knicks, but for the NBA. He continues to really play up to his contract, man. Yeah, and he's going to be a huge factor in the playoffs, man. He's going to be absolutely huge. For me, he's going to get an A. Handled his business, did what he needed to do, continues to defend well. You know, a size permitting. Tonight he was 2 steals, you know, really, really solid. You know, a really, really solid defender off ball. But yeah, continues to gun it from 3, man. 39% almost, man, on 18 attempts. Right. This man should have been in the 3-point contest, actually, with Brunson or instead of Brunson. Because, yeah, I think DiVincenzo could have given Steph a run for his money, the former Warrior. That would have been cool to see Devo in the 3-point contest. And I tell you what, he wouldn't have not cleared the racks. Right, he's quick. He got a quick release. DiVincenzo, one of the quickest releases in the game. You know, from 3. Yeah, he might be in the 3-point contest next year. Right, we'll see. So yeah, I think these guys are making the most of what they got. But yeah, Thibs got to be better in terms of giving them a better chance to win ball games offensively. Now, it could be a situation like Evan Fournier, where he's low on Bogdanovich's defense. That remains to be seen. But yeah, I would have run Bogdanovich out there 38 minutes tonight. But of course, he played 29. So yeah, Devo gets the A. Continues to produce for us, right? So consistent. We need to nickname him Mr. Consistency, because yeah, he continues to always be reliable, fam. The next guy up, who's very reliable too, had his work cut out tonight, as all the New York Knicks did. Precious Achiuwa, man, he had to contain Brandon Ingram at times, Zion, JV, Valanciunas. I can't fault these Knicks defensively in the first half. I mean, they really gave the Knicks a chance to actually surprise and win the ball game. You know, down 1. Defensively, we're sharp, rotating, bringing the help, and just fighting, scratching, clawing. Unfortunately, it came unstuck later in the game. You know, as the minutes continue, we were going to have to need to score. Right, we weren't going to contain the Pelicans for the entirety of 48. But man, Chewy continues to rebound, 3 offensive, 7 total, 2 assists, a block as well. The 3-point shot tonight, we have to talk about that, man. Couple of UFOs. I ain't mad at him for shooting it because they were open. But yeah, disappointing that he couldn't hit iron on a couple. 4 of 10 though from the field, pretty solid. Solid around the bucket. It was aggressive on a nice couple cuts tonight, finishing in traffic. Continues to shoot well from free throw as well. 8 free throw attempts from Chewy, 87% from the free throws, really solid. So he shot the most free throws tonight, 7 of 8, and that was a sign of his aggression. So you love to see that. I mean, he looks like he belongs, man. He belongs on the big stage. Precious Achiuwa, and I think in the playoffs he's going to continue to bring that grittiness. As I said earlier, his touch, his hands look, pretty assured. He rarely fumbles the ball. When he rebounds, he really clamps it, like Mitchell Robinson as well. He brings it down, and he's been solid rebounding around the bucket. But unfortunately, the deep shots just not fallen, for Precious. But he's living up to what he can bring, to this squad. I can't really see Precious giving us much more, really. I think he's at his max capacity in terms of what he's given us. So as I consider his grade, man, missed his threes, but solid at the line, rebounding, -18, a block, 15 points. What are you guys thinking for Achiuwa? Right, we'll fly through these grades, fam, because it's one of those nights, fam. The chat's not giving out the grades at the minute, so I'm going to have to hold us down. And I think, given the assignment, as I mentioned earlier, with Achiuwa given all of that, assignment, to guard all the bigs, all of that. I think the first half, we defended as well as we could have, and he gets a B+ for me as well. Battling, shorthanded, no Isaiah tonight. Played together with Sims, who we'll hit on in a second. But I want to look at, the larger sample, not just tonight, but Precious is a keeper. He's a player that we need to re-sign, right? He's really earned his keep, right? Buzzer beater's gone with B- for Chewy. That's solid. And a Dante B+. Solid again. Salute. The next guy, Jericho. Thibs really trusts Jericho getting a starting nod. Every time Isaiah's been down, he's stepped up and come into the starting unit. The biggest compliment I can say on Sims tonight, Jonas Valanciunas didn't really impact the game a whole lot, right? So I think that's a good win, for Sims. He did leave his feet a few times, but he played 30 minutes, 3 of 3, 1 of 3 though from the free throw. As Buzzer said earlier, we got to hit free throws, so hopefully he develops that part of his game, fam, in the summer, because Jericho's still got a bright future. He has to hit those free throws. Another solid rebounding night, 7, 2 offensive, 3 assists though. Had a nice bounce pass, finds some guys. Looks like his passing game is developing a little bit, maybe under the influence of Isaiah. So shout out for that for Sims. Had a nice sky-high block and a finish as well. On screen you see him out on the perimeter, man, clamping down Brandon Ingram as well, shuffling that feet. 2 blocks as well. 3 assists, 2 blocks, 3 fouls. So none of our guys got into any big foul trouble, which is a win. Zion fouled out tonight. So we were making Zion work defensively. 7 points, -18 for Jericho Jumpman. Buzzer's gone with the C+ for Jericho. Need a little more from him. And Nick Yak says we're outsized at every position right now. That's what made the first half impressive, because we needed to really fight. And I think without that, and some of our just gritty, hard-nosed play, we would have been down more. But yeah, Sims coming in at 6'10", guarding, a 7'1" beast, 7'2" beast in Valanciunas was quite impressive. Having to guard Ingram, Hart was, and Zion as well. We were just outmatched tonight. Which also ties into the open roster spots, man. I know you guys have been preaching the choir as well, that the Knicks could bring in a Robin Lopez, a DeMarcus Cousins, Dwight Howard, bringing in a little bit of extra help. We know Isaiah's dealing with this tendonitis, flaring up. Mitch is out for a while still. Thibs seems to trust Jericho a little bit more, but yeah, we are undersized against those traditional bigs, as well. So I'm gonna give Jericho Jumpman. I'm gonna give him a B. Can't really floor him too much in terms of his limitations. He is what he is. I guess there were some times when the call mentioned he wasn't even looking at the bucket. So when he's out on the perimeter, he's clearly not comfortable, looking at the hoop. But when he's near the hoop, he is an absolute load. He is a handful with those big shoulders, fam. And his hops and his ability to finish in traffic. Right, so that's the starting five, man. 35 and 24, 11 games above 500. We're treading water right now, hoping to get at least OG back soon, and it looks like in the next 2 to 3 weeks he'll be back on the court, man, and that can't come soon enough, man. Actually, no, I don't think we've hit on this man, Deuce McBride, right? I'm used to hitting on him on the bench, but he started tonight, right? So before we hit on Burks and Bogey off the bench, Deuce McBride, right, got a big chance tonight. What do you guys think? Deuce played 40 minutes, huge, 3 of 11, 2 of 7 from the field, hit both free throws, 8 assists, 3 boards, 3 fouls, a block and a steal, minus 26, 10 points. Miles McBride played solid D. Again, was one of those guys that was given it his all in that starting unit. The 5-man unit was pretty connected in that first half. They were bringing the help. They were closing out as hard as they could, and that's all the reason why we were still in the ball game. Unfortunately, in that third, I didn't like some of Deuce's hesitation. He did over dribble a bit again, and then he passed up some looks as well. He did hit a couple mid-range shots and a 3 towards the end, but yeah, I didn't like his game in the third. I liked his first half. I think, the limitations kind of came in, and Buzzer's gone with a C for Deuce, Miles McBride. What's happening, old head? Salute. I think March 1st is the day a player can be on the roster for playoffs. Absolutely. You're 100% correct. What are we now, man? We're Feb 27. Just a couple more days. So, yeah, I'm holding my breath to see if we can add somebody, man. As we know, the roster is here. We didn't even trust Daquan Jeffries and Jake Toppin tonight. Of all the nights on a second of a back-to-back with 7 men in the rotation, if you're not going to trust a roster player, for me, there's no point having them on there, man. They're just collecting checks for nothing. That's the way I see it. Daquan Jeffries, Jake Toppin, not even willing to play them. You sign them to a 10-day. They're just sitting there to look pretty, right now. And then meanwhile, we've still got the 15th spot open right now. We need to do something. Even if some guys come back, the law of averages will tell you that a couple other guys might pick up something along the way. Playoffs, etc. Guys get banged up, right? I want us to stack this roster with veterans in the remaining 2 to 3 spots, if possible. And they're not going to be dudes that are going to beat the world, but there's some guys out there that are proper savvy veterans that have been to the playoffs, can step in a pinch, fam. Somebody that Thibs will trust. Anyone that comes to mind, guys, let me know. I'm not the biggest fans of some of these guys, but these are just some of the names out there, man. There's Ish Smith, there's Corey Joseph. There's still other guys that might get bought out, of course, in the next 3 days. I'd keep my eye out on Patty Mills. He's not playing in Atlanta. I think Joe Harris, Cork Mars is out there as well. Some guys that can hit some shots, create some offense, just to make this guy's life easier as well. Because, as we saw, man, he can find you. He can get 8 assists. It's the creation, the shot creation that's more of an issue. But Deuce McBride can pass the ball. And if he has some more shooters around him, he can do some damage as well. Alec Burks, we're about to hit on him. Man, we're about to go in on Burks because he has not helped us at all. At least Bogdanovich has helped in 2 to 3 games. And it looks like he's finding his feet, and he's going to give us more in the playoffs. But yeah, Alec Burks so far has been a bust. But yeah, I love the 8 assists from Deuce. A little bit of hesitation. Right, I'm not going to be too down. But yeah, I think the third quarter, I saw more of Deuce's struggles. I'm going to give Deuce a C+ for the game. Vaughn says Deuce just needs to learn how to run an offense. Part of that, yeah, he needs to be in that spot more to learn. It's a spot where you learn as you continue to play that spot. But I also feel like, yeah, with better lineups around Deuce, it's gonna help him a lot as well. And the biggest compliment I can say is, Deuce is an offensive threat now. Like his game is at that level where he, shooting with the mid-range, the 3-point pull-up, you're starting to see a lot of opponents respect him and close out hard as well. He had one of those shots blocked as well. And also you see them, really close out hard. And he still hit the contested 3 as well. It's dribble penetration and it's playmaking as well. But yeah, I do think in the playoffs it's going to be a little bit difficult, right? When defenses can scheme on you and plan on you as well, we will really see a lot more challenges. But yeah, look, Deuce is young. He's going to continue to grow, and and be and take in this experience. Right? But yeah, in terms of Alec Burks, I think Deuce is by far superior in terms of with the ball. So far, Alec Burks been really underwhelming. We'll hit on Burks and then we'll finish on a positive with Bogdanovich, right? But we've got to hit on Alec Burks, fam. Let us know your thoughts. They dubbed him MJ Burks, but so far it's just been Burks without the MJ, And it's been 16 minutes tonight. That tells you the story, I guess. Thibs doesn't say a whole lot, but he speaks with his actions. And with that said, on a night where we needed more offense and a production from scoring, I would have laid hard-earned money on Alec Burks playing 20+ minutes tonight before the game. And even I'm surprised he only managed 16. That just tells you that it just wasn't going well, right? Thibs just didn't trust him no more. 1 of 7, missed both of his 3s, 2 rebounds, an assist, a block, 2 points, -1. Just hasn't found his rhythm. Seems to rush the shot, looks a little bit off balance, as well, and looks a little shaky handling the rock. Still hasn't been able to find his spot where we can get to and just knock down that shot consistently, whether it be in the mid-range or getting to the line or hitting in the corner or the elbow. I mean, it's surprising because Burks said it himself. He's familiar with what Thibs wants. I would have thought he would be the guy that would come in and look the most seamless. But clearly the basketball talent of Bogey and able to sort of integrate into the system has been better so far than Burks. And I think Burks has just got to find some spots on the floor, man. Just knock down some shots, get his confidence right. The decision making hasn't been great, but the rhythm and the misses is really hurting. The shot looks pretty flat as well, off balance as well. Nick Yak says Burks gets an F. He's just been awful. Can't disagree there, man. And I'm always trying to give every player the benefit of the doubt. But in the role he's assigned to do and bring in the trade as well, right? We haven't given out many Fs this season, but in just the game in itself, right? I still believe Alec Burks can be impactful for us. And as I said before, I haven't sold all of my stock because he can hit a couple shots and bounce back. But I don't see the same player so far. It's been a couple years go by, and he just hasn't found his groove. Tonight was disappointing. And the faith I have in this squad, I come into tonight's game thinking the Knicks still had a chance to win. Not a high chance, but I was really high on the trade because I felt Leon Rose got us a couple guys that are proven scorers in the league. They've done it consistently for many years, and I thought they would be able to come in and help carry us on a few nights, but I was wrong. Or Bogdanovich has been solid. We'll talk about next, but Burks has not been so far as well. Vaughan says not enough meaningful games in quite a while. Definitely needs to be a bit more patient with his shot selection. That's a great point. People brought up the jokes with Detroit, and he's brought the stain of losing and all of that. But to your point, in playing for a team that loses so many games, you just you're not match sharp. You're not game sharp in terms of playing for a winner as well. But I agree. The shot selection has to be better as well. And I think if I do got to say this, if Burks has shown me one thing so far in his short Knicks stint, second Knicks stint, in fact this might be his third Knicks stint, he's shown me that he's adept at getting to the free throw line. Right? He had the banker the other night. If the shot's not working, maybe he just needs to be more aggressive, getting to the cup, put the shoulder down, get to the line a few times, get 4 points the cheap way, and then let that build up your confidence, because right now the shots just ain't falling. But I think that's what he's shown me. I think Burks can get to the free throw line. He's a 6'6" guy, and he can find spots. I mean, he's got respect around the league, and they do close out still. So, he does tend to get fouled on the 3 shots as well. Nick Yak says Thibs wants better shot selection. That's Burks' problem. He only looks for his shots. I think, his role is to come in and be that gunner, but you can't have tunnel vision as well. You have to see the open man. I think the starting 5 plays really unselfish basketball, but the bench is still trying to figure out their connection, I think. But talking about this man next and finishing on the positive, outside of DiVincenzo, was by far the best Knicks scoring, tonight. 14 points at the half, led the game in scoring, not just for the Knicks, but the game. Outscored Zion, Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas, everybody on the Knicks in the first half. But for some reason, he comes off the bench in the third quarter still with no Jalen Brunson. So something's not right. Thibs doesn't trust his D, doesn't trust that he can play 35 minutes maybe. Maybe he's on a restriction with the calf. Those are valid reasons for me. Or the calf thing is the defense. I mean, you just need to throw caution to the wind on the second night of a back-to-back. You needed the offense, and he was the best offensive player in the first. And then what we saw is he went cold. You don't come back in. You're the game's leading scorer, and then you come back in with 4 minutes remaining in the third, expected to start draining shots again, right? It doesn't work that way. You got the whole halftime, and then you got another 8 minutes of the game time before you're able to get back on the court again. By then it was 13-point margin, and no Bogdanovich, no DiVincenzo, nobody was going to save the game at that point. We needed to come out in the third and just throw caution to the wind, right? And start getting hot. I mean, that's what everyone says. All the guests we get on, Coach Nick, all the wise heads, right? Any team can beat anyone if you can get hot, right? This league is just about getting hot from three, not playing 3-4 rebounders that try to wear you down, right? You need to catch. You need to catch people shooting threes, and fill it up, right? You need to outscore the opponent tonight, and the Pelicans were at full health. But as old head agrees, man, Bogey needed more minutes. I kind of lean towards maybe, there is a certain limit on his minutes now with his health. He was recovering from the calf injury, but yeah, man. 29 minutes, 6 of 14, 4 of 10 from deep, right? 40%, living up to the stats on the back of his card. Aggressive getting to the free throw too, 4 of 4, 5 assists, absolute baller. Found Precious, found Sims cutting to the rack, found Hart. I mean, you look at that production in a sample size, 20 points on 4 rebounds and 5 assists, right? That's close to, on track to a triple-double. But somehow the man couldn't get any more than 29 minutes. So yeah, it was the surprising element, from tonight. One of the surer things we had out there. But yeah, I would have loved to see him alongside DiVincenzo a lot more. It would have freed up the floor for all the other guys as well. But looking forward to see what he can do moving ahead with OG in the lineups, with OG back, Randall. I mean, man, if Bogey can keep giving us 15 to 20 points off the bench in 20 minutes, I mean, that's what this trade was all about, right? Not Alec Burks. We lost Grimes. We need someone to produce offensively. And so far, this man's been pretty solid. It's been, 6 games now, 7 games, and he's had pretty much 3 good to decent games as well. So, yeah, the man's starting to improve. He's starting to look better every single game. And for that, my grade for Bogey, I'm going to give the man an A in his minutes, man. Under 30 minutes, 20 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, right? That's production, right there. What do you guys think? Vaughn says, I thought during the stretch in the third, when they were struggling, he could have thrown Bogey in there for Deuce. Yeah, that's exactly the time of the game where I felt. We blew it. Yeah, the third quarter, basically, definitely. You guys know the game's about momentum, and we did everything we needed to do in the first half to stay in it, through hustle, through good defense, through some scoring. But then after 8 minutes, well, basically a 10-minute halftime break, 8 more minutes until you get back on the court. It's tough. It's tough after that. And the Pelicans, keeping it real, they had the full team, so they're the stronger unit. tonight. So we need to match that with some other guys, I think. But yeah, man, something to monitor moving ahead with Bogey's minutes. As I'm gonna bring up the scoring across the league tonight, the results, and we continue to chop up what you guys want to see with these roster spots. Right, as the Knicks will face Golden State on Thursday. That's going to be a big game, big time, and we need to slow down Steph Curry. He's definitely going to be assignment for Deuce McBride, for Josh Hart. For those coming through, salute. Smash that like button. Nick Streets is buzzing. As I said earlier, Philly took a L, which was another positive from tonight. Maybe the best positive. Unfortunately, the Bucks won, and also the Cleveland Cavaliers won, and took that win. Right, so that's a situation where the Knicks benefited from Philly losing, but the Cavs pull ahead a little bit through a lucky break. They got a half-court buzzer beater tonight to win. But Boston continue winning. But the Bucks, man, absolutely smashed the Charlotte Hornets, 123-85 as well. Pistons, salute to them, beating Chicago as well. Took out all their anger, their frustrations out on the Chicago Bulls, man. Let me peep what Quentin Grimes did. So Quentin Grimes, man, went 0 of 5 in 14 minutes. Quentin Grimes went 0 of 5 from deep, man. Couldn't back up his big play. Left his powers at MSG. For real. Evan Fournier was 0 of 2 from the field. Looks like Cade Cunningham, man, continues to cook, 9 of 13. So yeah, that was Detroit beating Chicago. DeRozan, Caruso, Vucevic played. Kobe White played as well. So that's a big win. Their biggest win of the season for Detroit. Now we have Miami. Looky what we have here. Miami Heat down against Portland, 45-34. So that's big time, man. Maybe they're shorthanded. So, yeah, not all is lost. If Heat lose, Philly lost. They're the two teams below the New York Knicks. Now, as I pull up the standings, and we'll see that the New York Knicks still have that cushion, man. Right, so the Sixers lost, the Knicks lost, but it's still 1.5 games, which is big. They have one more loss and 2 less wins. So, man, last night's win was critical. As the Cavs pull ahead, 6 games ahead now in second seed of the Knicks, and the Bucks still just 3 games ahead. So, third seed, what's up? Third seed still there. I mean, there's still 20. How many games are there left now? There's 23 games left in the season. 23 games left. More than enough time. If we can get OG Anunoby back in the next 2 weeks, which is according to Shams Charania, right? Let's bring this up. Salute Knicks Nation. Shams is told Julius's rehab is going well. His goal is to play this season. We keep hearing the same thing. I think obviously the shoulder is, it's the most delicate situation where he's going to be comfortable, he's going to be cleared to play, and then we have to see how he feels after playing. The worry is people are going to obviously be physical with him as well. Mitch has got to keep hitting more check marks. We know he's been dealing with foot issues before as well. So I think Mitch is going to be the last person to return. prior to the playoffs, though. I think he's still on track. However, I think the best news I can take from this is OG Anunoby is planning to start shooting the basketball by later this week, early next week, and then over the next 2 to 3 weeks after practice contact, and starting to build up the comfortability, the tolerance. He's going to be back on the floor in the coming weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, according to Shams as well. So appreciate him for getting us some kind of update, because the Knicks have just been, the Knicks have just been, mum on the situation, as they have. That's their MO right now. They're super cautious. It is frustrating because we want to hear some more updates. But Thibs did confirm OG has not been shooting yet. He's not been shooting the basketball. But Shams did confirm that what he's hearing is that OG plans to start shooting sometime soon in the next week. And then a couple more weeks, he expects to be back on the floor, right? So with that said, man, if we bring up the schedule, let's count the weeks, how many more games. So we got, so this is officially 3 weeks since OG's had the procedure, since the trade deadline, right? So we got Golden State this Thursday, and then March, I'll bring up on the screen right now, right? Then Cleveland on Sunday, right? So at least we have Friday, Saturday rest. Maybe we rest Brunson or Hartenstein for one more game. Maybe not. But at least there's 2 days in between the Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers game, which is in Cleveland as well. And then Orlando at the MSG at home. At least we get some home cooking. And then Philly again, both at home. Portland, Sacktown on the road with Golden State and Denver on a big West Coast trip. So yeah, if we're counting the weeks, man, officially a couple of weeks from today, 2 weeks from today, OG Anunoby, if he can be back and return, it would be for that West Coast trip. Now, probably I wouldn't bank on it. I would expect him to probably return after the West Coast trip, but that's really 3.5 weeks. That's 3.5 weeks. So, however, that does give the Knicks still the last week of March and a couple weeks into April. There's 9 games in April, and then so 3-4 remaining in March. If that's the case, OG might be back with like 15 games to spare in the regular season, which is going to give him enough of a tune-up. My worry is, if that's the timetable, Julius Randle is probably looking at April. With that said, maybe late March as well, if all goes well, right? So, yeah, that's the situation, man, with the injuries. Now, we can't escape without giving Thibs' grade as well. So, let me bring Thibs up right now. And what do you guys think for Thibs' grade tonight? For me, I've said all I needed to say on it. I think he needed to be better in terms of his decisions. So I'm going to give Thibs his grade tonight, which is going to be a D. A D for disappointing. Not 7 men rotation. Not playing, the player who had it going in the third early to start the third. Still very rigid, structured with his lineups. He loves the Hart Precious Sims or Hart Precious Hartenstein. I just see a whole lot of hustle and energy, but I see players just run around, dribble handoffs on offense, trying to find a good look. And we saw so many shot clock, violations, which which is a bugbear of mine. I mean, that's the truest indication that your offense is struggling. Right? You should not see shot clock violations, I think. Unfortunately, it really peeves me off. Every time a team and the Knicks get a shot clock violation, a Knicks Angel loses its wings, I think, because there's 5 players on the court, there's players on the bench, there's a coach on the sideline. Once it gets down to 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, somebody can't shout out shoot, somebody can't shout out get the shot up. It just makes no sense, man. We keep seeing shot clock violations as well, and we continue to see the struggles offensively with players just running dribble handoff, running around, getting a decent look, passing it back up. 20 seconds goes off the clock, and we end up with a poor shot, as well. So yeah, it's a really, really tough situation, man. I think, in terms of, the third, so we were only down 1 at the half, and then we were down 13 during the third, and then the Knicks did scratch and claw their way back to down 7 into the fourth as well. That was also because guys hit shots coming off the bench. Bogdanovich came back on and helped us out a little bit as well. But I would have loved to see Bogdanovich start the third. Mix and match the lineups. I think the bench needed a little bit more of Precious and Hart and hustle, and I think DiVincenzo and Deuce McBride needed another shooter with them to make some things happen. But with the games coming up, I mean, we did hear from Alan Hahn, MSG Networks, that the Knicks' schedule to wrap up the season is more on the favourable side. So we just got to find ways to grind it out, man. The Knicks have the 9th easiest schedule in the NBA. We do play Detroit again, the Spurs, Blazers, Raptors, and Brooklyn twice as well. So we know there's some dubs in there. As the Knicks sit still in that 4th spot, we need to get some guys back, but hopefully even with Brunson returning, we can beat Cleveland in Cleveland. That's going to be a big game in terms of the standings. Atlanta at home should be pretty straightforward. I would love to get Orlando back. I mean, that's going to be a swing, as Orlando are in the 7th spot right now here. If Orlando beat us, I mean, you don't have to be a mathematician to work out. They're only 2 games back of the New York Knicks, so that's a big game coming up, man. Next week, Orlando, that could be a big swing if we don't take care of business, as well as the Cleveland game is big for helping to catch Cleveland as well. If Cleveland beat the Knicks next week, I'm basically gonna concede the 2nd seed. I think Cleveland's gonna run away with it. If they beat us next week, it's gonna become basically a 5-game, something like a 5-game lead on that. It's going to be tough after that to catch up 5 more games, but we're definitely going to have to get hot. But the 3rd seed, well and truly alive, fam. 2 games separating the Bucks and the Knicks. 3 more wins. 3 games. 3 games separating the Bucks and the Knicks. 3 games in the win and the loss column as well. But we do play Milwaukee one more time as well. So that's something to look forward to as well. I want to beat Milwaukee and send some pressure on their side, fam. But yeah, what do you think about March? I think it's a very solid month. Once we get through the rest of Feb, hopefully we beat Golden State on Thursday. Friday, Saturday rest. Cleveland, big game Sunday. and then the Atlanta, Orlando, Philly, right? It gets really important. And then the big West Coast trip. I think Portland, yeah, if we're healthy, big chance to take that one. Sacramento, big chance. Golden State even over there, big chance. Denver is going to be tough. Brooklyn, Detroit, Toronto, Spurs, Oklahoma. So a nice run home to the end of March. Maybe OG, maybe Randall. He's on the court, man. Salute. Nick Yak says only playing Burks 16 minutes gets him a B+ for Thibs. Man, Burks, yeah, he's got to turn things around, right? He just has to hit some shots, you know. He may not be as, really impactful as we thought, as some people thought. But yeah, I know there were some people who didn't even really want Burks, in the building. I still think, the trade was all about Bogdanovich. I'm very confident it was, because if it was just Burks in the trade, Quentin Grimes would not have gone out. Quentin Grimes would still be a Knick. I don't see us just trading Grimes for Burks. I think for Burks it would have been probably Fournier and some, in a second round pick or something for Burks. But yeah, so far, I've been pretty, I think Bojan Bogdanovich has been pretty solid. Tonight I think he did what he does. What we brought him in here to do. We just don't have enough offensive, firepower. And credit to the Pelicans again. They shared the ball. You're the fifth seed in the West for a reason. That's tough to be fifth in the West, 11 games above 500. Right now they're a better team than we are in the standings. Actually, no, we're the same. Sorry, 35 and 24. We're both the identical records, but they're out west as well, which is difficult, like we know. So, yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to the Thursday game. I think Isaiah will play. Brunson, maybe they'll be a little bit more cautious, depending on those neck spasms, man. That's going to be the telling factor, right? But my panic meter is not too high at the minute. I think we have enough to sort of go 500 along the way until OG can be back. With Brunson and and DiVincenzo and the rest of the guys, we have enough to win some of these games still. Maybe not above 500 during this short stretch, but we have enough to still win some ball games. We just have to step up, and we have to play well, right? I think everyone's given it their all, and Thibs just has to be smart, allocating the right lineups and minutes, allocations. Leon Rose, see what's out there, man. March 1st is coming up, and I will see if he can bring somebody in, right? As I said tonight, it makes no sense having Jeffries, Toppin on roster spots on nights like this if you ain't going to use them. One more spot is available. Of course, those guys are on the 10-day, so that could expire, and then they do something else. So we wait a couple days. We'll know more by Thursday when we play Golden State. Once again, we'll be live post-game. Salute chat, salute replay squad. Smash that like button. The streets is buzzing. Thanks for joining us. It was a disappointing night, not able to get the win, but we split the games. Last night was a much needed win, and we keep it moving, man. The season's a grind, but we here. We're battling. We're going to get guys back, and we're going to be a force in the playoffs. Best believe that, right? Hopefully we get good news soon, fam. But be well, and appreciate you once again. We'll see you again Thursday. Peace.